at Ocala's premier adult active community on top of the world. From time to time, Robert will bring guests, and you're sure to enjoy our little chats. After all, you deserve the world, and we bring it to you.
Hi, I'm Lori.
Hi, I'm Vanessa.
We are
The American Moms.
Join us Monday through Friday,
10:30 to 11 a.m.
on WOCA Radio,
96.3 FM,
and 1370 AM, The Source. So that wasn't so bad, was it? See, you're going to like radio. It's a lot of fun. And you have to talk. I can't, you have to respond. Just respond to me.
American Moms is brought to you by Stanfield Chiropractic.
You're getting ready to move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros. Trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
Two Men in a Truck.
It's Monday. Not sure how you did it, but you actually survived an entire 2 days without hearing from Tom. Good job to you. And once again, good luck.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Monday. Galen Unall from Life South joins us on the phone lines. Galen, before we went to break, I kind of teased a situation where a free agent had a little altercation on Wednesday night of last week. And I don't want to make light of any domestic dispute. Domestic violence is something that is abhorrent and has no place in society, so I don't want to make light of it. But, boy, Richard Sherman sure didn't help himself out when he couldn't tackle a front door. He didn't help himself out none.
Well, the whole thing, it's a weird situation. I mean, I watched the video, and I guess he was having an issue with his father-in-law, so... weird. Really, really weird.
Yeah, because they said nobody was injured, but the only reason they called it an investigation of domestic violence is because everybody was related.
Well, it was. I mean, you've got a guy, and Richard Sherman is a football player, so he could hurt you if he wanted to. It's just crazy. It was because Richard Sherman's been a guy historically who. Has been one of those examples within the organization, or within the NFL. So, kind of odd that it's just kind of gone away. I don't know. I just found it weird. I don't know.
Well, and the whole story hadn't come out about what. And Richard Sherman, by the way, hadn't been arrested yet. I mean, hadn't been formally charged by the prosecutor yet. It's now going to the prosecutor to see if there's enough to warrant going in front of a judge and getting a bail set and everything. All that'll be taking place today and tomorrow. So it's just a weird situation. And you're right. It's not one of the things that we'd ever seen in the career of Richard Sherman. It's not something we'd ever seen or heard that it was in his, makeup to do. So it was very weird to see just how angry he was and how he was slamming himself into the door. It just didn't sit. It didn't seem to match up with everything I know about Richard Sherman.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, it was there didn't seem to be any drugs or alcohol involved. There's something there, and I'm willing to give the guy a benefit of the doubt, right? I don't know what else you can do. Sometimes you just have to give people the benefit of the doubt, and you're innocent until proven guilty, and we'll see what the court says. I have a feeling this will get thrown out. I don't think any charges will be put.
Another scary situation over the weekend at the Washington Nationals San Diego Padres game. The game was halted in the sixth inning, stopped, was restarted the next day because there was gunfire right on the sidewalk where people were killed, people were injured, right on the sidewalk at the entrance to one of the entrances to the park in Washington, D.C. You got kids there, you got families there, really a scary situation. Fernando Tatis said, look, Fernando Tatis Jr., when the shot started, he took off down the left field line, ducked into a fence there. He goes, look, I was just trying to get to a place that was safe. He actually let some people help some people get out that were trying to get out. So, I mean, 33,000 people were in there, and then there's a shootout just outside the third base side of the stadium's entrance to the stadium. That had to be really scary.
Oh, I think so. Obviously, it was close enough that people thought it was inside the stadium.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. I was like, wow. Again, not a full capacity crowd, but wow, just incredible.
It was an exchange of gunfire between people in two cars, left 3 people injured. A woman who attended the game was waiting for an Uber outside the park when she was struck by gunfire. She suffered a graze wound to her back. 2 other people who walked into a hospital with gunshot wounds were in stable condition. I mean, it was crazy. Jace Tingler, who's the manager of the Padres, on his way to see plate umpire Jordan Baker about a pitching change. They were in the middle of a pitching change when the shooting interrupted.
Yeah.
He was like, "Did you hear that?" And that was Balker asking him. The umpire go, "I'm like, yeah, I think so." And then it kind of registered what it could have been, and we were like, "Oh, well, we got to get off the field." But, I mean, here's a manager going out to make a pitching change. Gunfire erupts, and he looks at the umpire, and the umpire goes, "Did you hear that?" It was almost like they were all realizing what was going on all at the same time. And, some of these places are in urban areas, and the Washington, D.C. stadium's no different. And, I've been in Atlanta near where the TED used to be located, and I know that there's been drive-by shootings in that area, but not right outside the gate. But I'm kind of, when I thought about this, I go, for this to be the first time it made national news and really happened, with the way people have a disrespect for life these days and answer everything with gunshots, I'm kind of surprised this is the first time that we've talked about something like this.
Well, it's the first time you heard it, right? And that's the part that I'm stuck on is how did you hear it? I mean, we've been in stadiums, right? Granted, baseball stadiums aren't as loud as like a football stadium, for example, but how in the heck did you hear it? How was it heard? That's all. That would be my question.
Well, I don't know how the makeup of the stadium is, how close, that entrance is to the field and everything. But, and I don't know the makeup of the stadium, so I couldn't. But you're right. You would think when you're inside the stadium, there's enough distance from the entrance to the stadium to where you're sitting that it wouldn't cause this kind of strife. But, I mean, it was a panic scene. If you've seen it, it was a panic scene.
It was a firecracker, right? Right? Yeah. I saw the video. I'm like, what? Why would everybody assume it was gunfire? I don't know if I would have, right? I'm like, oh, somebody's shooting fireworks. When I lived in Baltimore, it wasn't an uncommon thing to have fireworks go off all time of the night, firecrackers and stuff like that. So, not surprised. I don't know. It's just weird. Just weird.
It really was weird, but I mean, it was loud enough and prominent enough that everybody in the stands went ducking for cover, players running off the field. I mean, if you've seen the video, it was, and the thing is, though, I can't hear the shots on the video. You can hear
nor can I.
You can hear the craziness, the screams and everything, but you can't hear the shots.
Right.
So I'm wondering if the microphones that we have today on the field and everything that pick up everything didn't pick up the shots, how in the world did they hear them in the stadium? But they obviously did.
Fair question.
Because you saw the immediate, just massive, just panic that took place. People ducking behind chairs, other people trying to rush towards the exits. I mean, Will Myers and Manny Machado, they're showing people how to get out the side fence with them to get fans out of harm's way. I mean, it was just a really surreal situation that I was like, is that and I immediately thought, is somebody punking these people? Is this like a sick goof or something? I mean, it just didn't register that they were actually gunshots. I thought it had to be like somebody throwing an M80 or a bunch of firecrackers or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was like, oh, that's what I would have assumed it was. Again, just interesting. Yeah, pretty fascinating.
Not something, not something that I want to be a part that anybody in that stands wanted to be a part of or something. It just seemed like it was kind of weird that it took place like that, and I couldn't grasp what was going on. It just didn't understand it. Hey, report out of Jacksonville that a certain football coach not happy with the rules he has to adhere to under the collective bargaining agreement. There's a certain college coaches, they're the be all end all. They are the rulers. They make the rules. They make you stay within the rules. They dish out all the punishment. Finding out there's a difference when you get to the game where it's played for money. The players have a lot of power. I said this before that I thought this was going to be a bad situation because I didn't think his game would translate to the pro game. Talking about Urban Meyer, but now where he's openly talking about how aggravated he is and he doesn't have time with his players and the collective bargain agreement, and he's already been fined a couple $100,000 because of improper communications during OTAs or hitting with pads during OTAs. I just don't think that this guy's going to be successful at the next level. Is it me, or are you starting to think that some of the things he's doing just don't fit with where he's at now?
No, I never thought he would be a good NFL coach. I've been against Urban Meyer since his last season with Florida. Urban Meyer is the ultimate front runner, right? As long as things are going well, he'll be fine. But the second things get a little difficult, he runs for the next place. So I don't typically have respect for people like that.
And I just don't. I don't think he understands, and that's why I don't think Nick Saban was very good at the pro level when he bombed with Miami.
Oh, it's a little different.
No,
he didn't bomb with Miami. He took over a team that was absolutely atrocious, and then he's like, and then he didn't get the support that he thought he was going to get.
But when you ask him
from ownership,
but when you ask Nick Saban, he brings up some of the restrictions he had with the collective bargaining agreement and everything. It's different when you come from the game where you are completely in control. And college football coaches are completely in control. You get to the next level, now the players got power. And sometimes, that's what I thought was Nick Saban's. And I know he didn't have a very good Miami team. I understand that. But he didn't like that he didn't have all the power. Urban Meyer is now experiencing that and not liking that he doesn't have all the power. In college football, players matter, but coaches matter more, a lot of people say. In the professional game, coaches matter, but players matter more. And I don't think a guy like Urban Meyer, who's very successful at the college level and has an ego of success from the college level, I don't think he's the type of guy whose ego or whose makeup could handle not being completely in charge.
I think that in NFL coaching matters more than college.
Coaching, but not head coaching.
No, I completely disagree. Well, because why is it that certain coaches have sustained success over generational players? Right? You look at somebody like Don Shula, who won in every, over and over again. We can go back to Lombardi. Lombardi was going to be.
It was a different game then, though. They were in charge then.
Bill Belichick. How is it that Bill Belichick has done it over and over and over?
Because he treats it like a college game. You don't like my system? We'll fire you or we'll throw you out. He treats it like a college game.
Okay, and then why are there some coaches that are just perennially bad? And they just get rehired, and they're still bad.
Because June Jones is just – because people like saying the name June Jones. That's why.
No, I think coaching matters at every level, but I don't care who the coach of the Florida Gators is. He's going to beat 90% of the teams in the country. Not 90 teams in the SEC because they have equal talent. Or almost equal talent, but 90% of the teams in the country. I could coach against Coastal Carolina and win with Florida. right? I could.
Couldn't
Or
coach
Georgia Southern.
couldn't coach
weakness
against
of
couldn't coach against Georgia Southern and win. Will Muschamp proved that.
Well, that again, he was pretty terrible, and that team was even worse. So,
26-20,
yeah.
no passing, no problem.
nope, that's true.
Through
I just think I think recruiting means more than anything. So.
And
college.
recruiting is the biggest part. To me, it is the biggest part. It's also the biggest unknown, but it is the biggest part of the job in college, is getting the talent in there and then, coaching that talent up. But that's where Nick Saban does such a great job, and his coaching staff is, they get the 5 stars, they get the 4 stars, but they have a cast of 3 stars that they coach up that are just some of the and people say, who are you talking about? The backup offensive linemen, the backup defensive linemen that come in and give the guys a breather, give them spell them and stuff. Some of those guys would start anywhere else in the country, but they were a 3-star coming to Alabama. I think Alabama probably has the best coaching staff and the best approach to the game of football since probably the heyday of the Miami Hurricane teams, that some people will argue were some of the best college football teams ever to take the field.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. But it was also talent, right? That was talent-based.
Oh, yeah, 100% it was talent-based. We got that
There you
discussion.
go.
I got that discussion with a buddy about 3 nights ago, Friday night. Yeah, 3 nights ago now. He was trying to tell me that the 95 Cornhuskers were the best team in college football history. And I go, no, they weren't.
96? No.
No, 95. The team that beat Florida in the bowl game in 96. It was a 95 team that January 1 beat Florida in it was a Fiesta Bowl they beat them in, where they beat Chris Doering's last game. Beat them, that 95 team with Tommy Frazier.
That was a not the best ever. Because now you got to think back to those Oklahoma teams. Now you're going to have to go back to the Notre Dame teams and with the Newt Rockneys.
You're not going to have to do any of that.
That Miami team is just so good.
You go back to that 2001 Miami team.
Yeah, this team was so good.
I mean, that 2001 Miami team. Don't get me wrong. People say, "Oh, that 2001 team could have won NFL." No, they couldn't have. They could not have won NFL games, but they had the talent. You know how many Pro Bowlers it all came off that team that ended up being great football players. That 2001 Miami team, in my estimation, is probably the best college football team, top to bottom, to ever take the field.
It's hard to not agree with that. I mean, it truly is.
I mean, it just and some of those other teams, like, you go back and think of those teams that had Benny Blades on it, and Michael Irvin, and those guys.
Gosh, yeah.
Jerome Brown, some of those teams. Miami, for about 15 years, was as good as it got in college football.
There's no doubt about that.
And I say that as a Gator fan, and I don't like, Miami is not high on my totem pole. But you got to give credit where credit's due. Just like I'm not a Tom Brady fan. We all know that. They just scored again against the Falcons in overtime. So I'm not a big Tom Brady fan. But I have to be honest when I say he's the best to ever play the position. That's
There's no doubt about that.
You can't even argue
It's
that.
undeniable.
You can't even make
Undeniable.
nobody. And people now go, well, as soon as they start, and I was that guy when they go 3 Super Bowls ago, before he had so many that he's got now. Somebody go, Tom Brady. I go, Montana 4-0, never lost. Terry Bradshaw 4-0, never lost. Calm down now, Brady. But now Brady heads and shoulders get above Montana. It's not even close. Brady's the best quarterback to ever play the game, in my opinion, and it takes a lot for me to say that.
Well, and again, even when you look at the losses that Tom Brady had in the Super Bowl, they weren't his fault. He played great. So, I think that's believable.
Which was the most surprising? The one that he just won with Tampa Bay because of the Tampa Bay team the year before, didn't even make the playoffs. Was that more surprising, or the one where he came in off the bench as a third game of the season or second game of the season, Drew Bledsoe, and he beats the best show on turf as a young kid. Which one was more surprising, the first one or the last one?
Ooh, I don't think the first one was just a miracle. I don't think anybody thought that he had any chance in winning that game. None. Like, zero. So I would say that's much more impressive.
Well, the fact that defense stood up to that best show on turf. This was a Rams team that was scoring like 50 points a game. It was ridiculous how many points
Absolutely
they were throwing
correct.
up. And that New England defense to hold them to 19 points so that Norwood could kick the field. Not Norwood, Scott. Don't listen to me. You hold them to few points so that who was it that kicked the field goal? Was it? It's one of those. I forget who it was that kicked it, but they win. Brady with the iconic hands on his head look as a young guy. It was.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was just.
And again, that's the game in which they're saying they filmed their walkthrough and all that, even though there's no evidence of it. So, yeah.
The Rams are saying the Patriots filmed their walkthrough. Yeah.
Right. Again, I'm not I don't know. I just think that Bill Belichick's the greatest coach of all time.
See, and here's my problem with that. Because he came out of the coaching tree of Bill Parcells, and he learned most of what he knows from Bill Parcells, wouldn't that make Bill Parcells the greatest coach of all time?
No. Okay, that's like saying, no matter what you do, the guy who invented basketball, John Naismith, is the greatest basketball coach of all time. Because every coaching tree follows him. No, that's silly.
Well, there you go. Okay, we'll go with that then.
Bill Belichick took over that Parcells team from New England, right? And won a Super Bowl with it. And Bill Parcells could not. Now, you can counter and say, okay, well, he did it because of Tom Brady. But let me ask you this. Name a situation where Bill Parcells won a Super Bowl as a head coach without Bill Belichick. I'll wait. You can't.
No, of course not. Bill Belichick was on the sideline every time Parcells won a Super Bowl. Of course, you were going to wait you were going to wait forever.
Right. If you're going to ask Lawrence Taylor. Ask Lawrence Taylor who the best coach on that staff was, and he'll say Bill Belichick, and he has publicly on record.
Oh, he has numerous times.
He loved Parcells. So again, there's sometimes the student is better than the master, and I think this is one of those cases. I mean, Belichick came from a long line of coaches with his father, and I don't think anybody studies the game the way the Belichick does. And Belichick never got involved in that. Parcells loved the press conference, right? You don't see Belichick doing that. He's not afraid of a yes or no question. I think that helps him.
Belichick you may have arguably the best coach, Belichick. The best coaching tree, though, without a doubt, is Bill Walsh's.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, there's
best one without a doubt.
Okay. Tom Landry's was great for a long time. Tom Landry's coaching tree dominated the NFL for 20 years. So I'm not going to give you that yet.
But look at the Super Bowls. Andy Reid, Mike Holmgren, John Gruden, all those Super Bowls came out of Bill Walsh's system.
Sure. I mean, we can do
Sean
that.
Payton
Too.
could be attached to Bill Walsh's.
He's a Gruden guy.
But Gruden, but that's Bill Walsh's. That's a Walsh tree, though. Because it started with Bill Walsh.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay.
And
Marty Schottenheimer's is better, right? Because Marty Schottenheimer had Bill Cowher, Tony Dungy, Herm Edwards, Mike McCarthy, Bruce Arians was in
That's right. Marty Schottenheimer had pretty good
Lovie
coaching tree.
Smith, Dom Capers.
Was Lovie Smith in his? Yeah, he was, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah,
Then you got Ken Norton
Jr., Absolutely. So what are we talking about? I mean, if we're going to do that, I mean, I don't think it really matters. And then Bill Belichick's, by the way, includes Nick Saban. Right? Nick Saban worked for
That's
Bill
right.
Belichick
He did. That is
on
correct.
4 different teams. So Josh McDaniels, who turned Tim Tebow into a playoff winner.
Is Josh McDaniels? We got about. Well, no, actually, we got about 20 seconds before I ask you where the Bloodmobile is. Is Josh McDaniels a guy that's going to be just? He's always going to be that great OC, but he probably is not going to be a head coach that's worth his grain.
No.
And we lost Galen. Galen, are you there? Yeah, we lost Galen again. Well, Galen, have a good Monday. We'll try to find out where the Bloodmobile is. I'll try to look it up on the internet or something to find out where the Bloodmobile is. We'll be right back after this time out. 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
When it really counts, depend on The Source for the latest weather updates, keeping you